folks, good evening. I'm going to call the meeting to order. The North Hunterdon-Voorhees Regional High School District Board of Education meeting on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 is now called to order. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-6, adequate notice giving the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda of this meeting was sent to the Hunterdon County Democrat, Star-Ledger, and Courier News on January 7th, 2026, and published on January 12th, 2026. In addition, notice of this meeting has been posted at the North Hunterdon High School and Voorhees High School, provided to the municipal clerks of Bethlehem Township, California Borough, Town of Clinton, Clinton Township, Franklin Township, Glen Gardner Borough, Hampton Borough, Highbridge Borough, Lebanon Borough, Lebanon Township, Tewksbury Township, and Union Township, as well as other interested parties, and posted on the district website. Fire exits are located in the direction indicated. If alerted to fire, please move in a calm and orderly fashion to the nearest smoke-free exit. Restrooms are located through the doors behind this desk and to the right as indicated. At this time, please silence all cell phones. And I do just want to read our mission statement. The North Hunterdon-Voorhees Regional High School District empowers all students through innovative and personalized learning to achieve their full potential, embrace lifelong learning, and contribute responsibly to a changing world. Roll call.
Ms. Ayers? Here. Mr. Chapman?
Here.
Mr. Ganley?
Here.
Ms. Hintz? Here. Mr. Lordy?
Here.
Mr. Matthews?
Here.
Ms. Mizikappa? Here. Mr. Morgan?
Here.
Ms. Reyes? Here. Mr. Spanton?
Here.
Ms. Stein? Here. And Mr. McIsaac?
Here.
Thank you.
We now have the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Can I get a call for a motion and a second to approve agenda items 4.1 and 4.2? Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion, Tara, second. Rich, thank you. We have our minutes from January 20th and 27th. Are there any questions or items to discuss? Okay, hearing none. We'll go to a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstentions?
Abstain 4-1.
I abstained 4-1 as well.
All right. So we are at the point in our program where we would normally have our recognition of student achievements, but we had a little scheduling change that Dr. Burgess will tell us about.
So yes, we were going to have the North Hunterdon-Voorhees hockey team here to recognize the team and their accomplishments for winning the Skyline Conference and also being seeded number 1 in the Skyline Cup. Unfortunately, the game that they were scheduled for yesterday was rescheduled for today, and so they couldn't be here, and it was a lot to try to get somebody else in for student recognition all within one day. It has since been rescheduled for tomorrow night. So this afternoon we sort of played with the idea of maybe pulling them out, but it turned out it's just better off to hold off. You'll be seeing them in March, and we might be doing double duty in March for student recognition.
Okay, awesome, thank you. And congratulations to them. We now have our board student representative reports. Samantha, did you want to kick us off?
Sure. So as per usual, I'm going to go in order of like sports, arts, academics, and then clubs and activities just to try to keep it organized. So in terms of sports, our winter sports are concluding within the next 2 weeks, and spring sports begin March 9th. A couple highlights from our winter sports: girls basketball, Maddie Petak joined the 1,000 point club, so that was very exciting. Boys fencing, this is one of my personal favorites. On February 10th, the team won their rematch against North after a loss earlier in the season. Always love to see that. And they also had Noah Gricci join the 100 Win Club. Fencing hosted a freshman-sophomore tournament on Saturday, February 21st. The parking lot was packed, so I'm assuming it went very well. Girls track were sectional champs, and Lexi Mazzone was the group champ. And then boys track Skyland champs. Dylan Devine was a group champ, and the 4x4 team is going to the Meet of Champs, which is upcoming. In terms of arts, we had the Pops concert this past week. It was very exciting. This is where our orchestra and band groups perform while dancing and memorizing their music for a 45-minute performance. It's a lot of fun. The lights are super exciting. It's kind of like being in a real concert. Then we have the Coffee House performance, which is the choir version of that, and that's going to be on March 6th at 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Their theme is Broadway and Beyond. Anyone interested should email our choir director, Andrew Fink. And then we have Drama Club preparing for Into the Woods, which is April 16th to 19th. Anyone interested in tickets should email Mr. Joe Reynolds. In terms of academics, it's been an exciting month. We had many students take the biliteracy test, which certifies students as proficient in another language. So we had 14 seniors take it, 11 in Spanish, 1 in Portuguese, 1 in German, and 1 in Russian. We also had 7 juniors pass, 4 in Spanish, 1 in Portuguese, 1 in Urdu, and 1 in Farsi. We also were recognized as an AP honor distinction as a school due to our very high AP scores this past year, so that was very exciting. Then in terms of clubs, activities, and accomplishments, we had Carnival, which is when Spanish clubs host Carnival, which is very similar to like a Mardi Gras kind of celebration, but Carnival is typically seen in Hispanic countries. And the event was full of dancing, good food, and educational fun. National English Honor Society hosted Spa Day, where they made self-care-based lip scrubs, body butter, and wax candles. We were supposed to have a blood drive today, but due to the delayed opening, it was rescheduled to March 2nd. Speaking of the snow day, Mr. Reynolds yesterday brought our custodians fried chicken for lunch, and they very much appreciated that, so that was very exciting. We also have 2 tournaments coming up for fun, like recreational fun after school. So we have a volleyball tournament hosted by Students for Change and a pickleball tournament hosted by Student Council. The Key Club is hosting their pancake breakfast on Saturday, March 14th at 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Link for tickets has been emailed to parents, staff members, and students, and community members can find the link on the VHS Facebook page and website. That's all you can eat pancakes on a Saturday. Very exciting and very yummy. The freshman and sophomore classes are hosting a night in New York, spring formal. It's actually organized by the sophomores, but it's for both grades. They're trying to raise money for prom, so that's going to be on March 20th at 6 p.m. And then finally, Unified is hosting their Week of Respect next week, and that's March 2nd to March 6th. And they're hosting spirit days that encourage a respectful culture when dealing with anyone with differing abilities. And that's what I have.
Thank you very much, Samantha. I mean, a lot to congratulate there. Just out of curiosity, when they do the coffee house, where do they do that? Do you know?
It's in the cafeteria.
Oh, okay.
And they do 2 performances. They set up tables and you have a table assigned to you. And then there are like snacks and things you can eat during the performance while you watch. It's actually very fun. It's a really good job.
And then the spring formal, is that new or is that?
It is
okay.
new. So the sophomore class is looking for a new way to raise money for prom. Because at Voorhees, you organize prom when you're a junior.
Right.
So this is their way of kind of doing a pre-prom sale where they can kind of generate interest for their upcoming prom next year while also fundraising.
All right, well, good luck with that. And then Maura, wanted to welcome you. I guess this is your first stepping in as in your alternate role, so welcome. And we look forward to your report.
Thank you. Yes, hi, I'm Mara, for those of you who don't know. Starting off, we have our musical Shrek, which actually Max is our lead as Shrek, and it'll be performed on February 27th, 28th, and March 1st. All Board of Education members will receive complimentary tickets along with a coupon code for their convenience, so make sure you get to see it. I've heard very good things about it, especially from Max, so show out. Then our junior prom is scheduled for March 7th. This year's junior prom has achieved a record-breaking 230 ticket sales, which is very good for student enthusiasm. Usually it's kind of hard to get those tickets, so getting that many in this short period of time is very encouraging. For March 5th, we have our Trivia Bowl, and it's a new format this year. So anyone, it's not only spectators, we can all, like parents, students, as long as you have a team of 5, you can participate, and it just makes a more inclusive, interactive experience, and the National Honor Society gathered bags and donations to put in these baskets for raffle winning. So it's going to be very fun for March 5th. March 4th is our National Honor Society blood drive. This is we have a few of these a year, I believe 3, and make sure you donate and volunteer if you can. So then, unfortunately, our Science Honor Society STEM night was canceled this year due to low 8th grade enrollment. So we're looking for more Science Honor Society donations and some more fundraisers in the future to help involvement. The Unified versus staff basketball game was moved from yesterday due to the snow to today, and I believe that was at 6 p.m., and I believe the Unified students won. And they were also recognizing Dave the Rave's 80th birthday, so if you see him, wish him happy birthday. Spike for a Cure volleyball tournament is scheduled for March 11th, and this is benefiting the Jason P. Scheibel Foundation, and it's a very good opportunity for students and staff to support this important cause while also having fun and creating teams. Our in-our-club fundraiser held a For Joey fundraiser in partnership with Duck Donuts, generating 80 orders in support of this cause while also incorporating our Unified program. As February is Black History Month, we have had recognitions of this through morning announcements. Rho Kappa Honor Society has been delivering these announcements while also creating some bulletin boards around the school, and the school breezeway has been decorated with student-created murals. Then, on February 19th, we had our Prism Dance. It was the first time this was hosted at North Hunterdon, and it's students from North Hunterdon, Warren Hills, Voorhees, and Central, fostering inclusivity and community among members of Prism. Prism was formerly known as the Gay Straight Alliance Club. And then athletic achievements. The North Hunterdon boys winter track 4x800 relay of Eric Beswick, Ben Adamo, Cole Clover, and Patrick Palma proudly competed at the prestigious Milrose Games. This was the first time North Hunterdon has been a part of these games, and it's very prestigious among the track community, so it's very nice to have North Hunterdon represented in this. And then lastly, the North Hunterdon dance team competed this past weekend in their state championships and placed 3rd overall in jazz and pomp, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, very nice. Again, great congratulations there. A lot of really good achievements. One question, and you may not know the answer, with the 8th grade STEM night.
Yes.
Is that something where they reach out to the sending districts to invite 8th grade students to come?
Yes, so this is an annual event every year, and so the Science Honor Society students, I'm a part of this society, and we go to STEM night to create enriching activities, and it was just, we didn't have enough enrollment, and I believe it was sent out through the middle schools. I remember when I was in middle school at Clinton Township Middle School, we received like an email informing us that this event was happening, but we just didn't have enough enrollment.
Okay. Well, I mean, certainly, you know, we're always willing to support those efforts and communications as best we can. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you both very much. Great report. And as I said before, I know you have a lot on your plate, so at any point in tonight's meeting when you have to step out, feel free to do so.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
All right, that brings us to our Chief School Administrator's report. Dr. Burgess.
All right, students, you're always hard to follow, but I'll do my best. So a couple things I want to report on our student activities. And some of this stuff I might repeat a little bit, but I'll try to add my flair to it. But our cheerleaders, actually at North Hunterdon and Voorhees, both participated in the 2026 UCA National High School Cheerleading Competition, which ran from January 30th to February 8th at the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. North did place 12th in the nation. Voorhees did very well and had a very great time as well, but I don't think they were able to place in that competition, but it sounds like everybody had a wonderful time and enjoyed their trip. We had some really exciting news a few weeks ago, and it just happened, but one of our students at North Hunterdon, Gabriella Maldonado, she was selected as one of the top 3 finalists in the Healthy School Lunch Challenge. And these were from submissions across all of Pomptonian food service districts. And Pomptonian is the food service provider that we use for our food services for lunches. Gabriella submitted the crisp whole grain polenta cake with corn succotash, rolled egg white omelet, and blackberry gastrique. I don't know what a gastrique is, but it sounds delicious. But that was her recipe. She was a finalist, and so this past Friday, they actually met at Driscoll Foods Culinary Kitchen, I believe it was in Randolph, and they had a competition. Is that
Wayne.
Wayne, okay. They had a competition where they were paired with a Pontonian chef, and they went through the competition. Gabriella was one of the grand prize winners and will end up receiving a $400 award as a result of that, but also her recipe is going to be in a school menu at some point coming up, and there's going to be a banner and a ceremony to celebrate her as well, so it'll be a great opportunity for Gabriella. We had several members of the North Hunterdon Tri-M Music Honor Society performing for their second year at the NAACP of Hunterdon County Black History Month celebration on this past Saturday afternoon in Flemington. They performed a really special arrangement of Wade in the Water and received much praise and appreciation for their performance. Congratulations on more music stuff to North Hunterdon Choir students Savannah Wrigley and Sophia Emery Reed for their performance this past weekend in the All-State Honors Treble Choir in Atlantic City. Again, it's a huge honor to be selected for this, and it's a prestigious ensemble, and they represent North Hunterdon at state level. We also had this past Thursday 4 North Hunterdon Unified Bowlers competed in the Skyline Conference inaugural bowling tournament. So the game was great tonight, unified, but we have lots of unified activities that happen, and we had 4 inaugural tournament there. North Wrestlers also became sectional champs with a 37-34 win over Middletown South to secure the sectional title. So congratulations on them, and we wish them luck moving forward. Voorhees, I did see the head coach actually in the hallway the other day, and he told me he was all excited because they beat Central the week before, which is not an easy feat, with the size of the schools. So they performed very well, and it sounds like they're having a good year. As an update for our strategic planning, I wanted to go over some of the things that we've been talking about. The committee, our strategic planning advisory committee, did meet on February 10th. We focused on several key areas. Some of those were wellness initiatives, including plans to reschedule January's events. If you remember, on January we had a early dismissal planned, and then we had to have a delayed opening, so we had to cancel those events so that we could get to school and get the day in. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen tomorrow, because tomorrow is our February PD, which we also discussed events that are supposed to be happening there, which is our biometric screenings, yoga and massage therapists. All these things are in the middle of different educational segments that the teachers are a part of. But the wellness activities are something that we talk about a lot in strategic planning, because that is one of our goals for this year. We also touched on rolling out some of these initiatives simultaneously, while also our commitment to time allocation for our teachers. So the idea is that we're trying to do all these great things for our teachers and have these special events. If a teacher doesn't have time to participate in them, it's all well intended, but it doesn't have the outcome that we'd like. So we're going to try to work more with the teacher schedules, make sure these events get scheduled at a time where they can take advantage of this. And also, just be careful that we're not putting more initiatives on teachers when they already have initiatives from previous events as well. And to just be cognizant of that. It's something that I think we always try to do, but it's good to have those reminders. And that's what this committee does, is give me those reminders, which is exactly the purpose of it. So. We also talked about exploring new ideas for staff recognition. One of those is in-class visits, and also we talked about recognition, by this Board of Ed. And so some of the ideas that came out of that were recognizing a monthly staff or faculty member from each school. Then, that sort of evolved into the idea of, well, we can bring them out and we can celebrate them in a board meeting, and you will get to, and then we started talking and saying, well, that's another night out for a teacher, another obligation. While that sounds great and well-intentioned again, it's just more time for them. So then I was thinking, how can we do this as a board without impinging on the teacher's time or the staff member's time? And I thought, we have board reps that are officially board members. So the idea is that, starting in March, we're going to pick a staff member at each school that is deserving of this award. I don't have it coming up with catchy names, but right now it's Board of Education Staff Spotlight. If anyone has any better ideas, I'm open to anything. But I'm going to have our board reps actually join me to congratulate the staff member in their environment, sort of surprising, and then we'll come and present it to you on what happened. So there will be members of the board that recognized the staff members without inconveniencing them, and then we get to again celebrate them as a board at our meeting. So that's going to be the plan moving forward from March on. Hopefully everything works, all well intentioned, and we'll see how it plays out. But I think I met with all our student reps, and it was great. They had some great ideas. I'm also asking them to survey the student population to have input into that. So between the Strategic Planning Advisory Committee that represents staff members, student board reps that represent our student body, it's my goal that we will get some well-deserving people and be able to recognize them. And then we also talked about having a consistent teacher of the year process across both schools. Both schools do it a little differently, and so what we're going to do is make sure that's tidied up for next year, and we have a consistent process for both schools. And then at our next meeting, we're planning some financial transparency, professional development for them. So Katie, I made sure I let her know this today before I announce it tonight. But we're going to ask Katie to come and do a quick presentation to our Strategic Planning Advisory Committee, because again, teachers, they hear about what we do and what we discuss from a budgetary perspective, but they don't always understand all of it and how it impacts them. So I want to make sure that they understand what the impact of the budget is, and so we're going to do that for them in our Strategic Planning Advisory Committee. And so that's all I have on strategic planning. I did want to mention our attendance report out that we do every month now since we've had our new attendance policy. So in January, North Hunterdon had 1,267 cumulative absences, and remember, this is class absences, right? So that's not how many students were absent, but in January of 2025, they had 2,263, so that's 996 less absences this January than we had last January. That's good data. Year-to-date, year-to-date district-wide, we are at North year-to-date is 4.96, so just under 5% absentee rate. That is more than half of what we were at this time last year. So again, we're trending in the right direction. Seems to be working. Voorhees had 845 absences this January, and the year before was 1,605, so 760 less absences. And again, they're trending year-to-date percentage absence is 4.07, so just over 4%. So again, the policy is having the intended purposes. We're seeing good data. We're going to continue to follow it all throughout the year, and then we'll have a full year of data to make sure that we make the right decisions and make any changes if we need to. I did want to also mention, we've had a couple board members reach out about making sure the community, particularly our parents, are aware of how we're structuring our board meetings now. And so we have an email that's going to go out. I'm going to try to send it out tomorrow, but I want to give everyone just some highlights of it first. We're going to define what a committee of the whole is, how this works. We're also going to define the difference between a working session and an action meeting. So a working session being one where we discuss the topics, but there won't typically be action items, and an action meeting where there will be a lot of action. We're also going to talk about the fact that there may be action items at the working session, because sometimes there are things that have to be done, or some things that make sense, and policy is one of those. I'm going to explain that. If there's critical personnel decisions or critical contracts that have to be passed because of an emergency situation, those are things we would bring to you at a working session for action. But typically, most of the agenda, I'm going to talk about if you see a call for a motion and second on an agenda, that means it's an action item, right? If you don't see that, that means it's not, because our working session agenda and our action session agenda is basically the same agenda, or should be very close. And so the first agenda, you're not going to see a lot of call for a motion and second, but the second agenda, you'll see that on pretty much every item. And so that will be the distinguishing thing, and I'm just going to try to explain that. And then we're going to give them resources on where to find our calendar for the year, and also where to find our live streams and our minutes of this board meeting when it's done. So that'll go out tomorrow. And that is all I have on my main report, but we do have our report on harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and I can gladly say that we have 0 incidents to report this month from the last time we met. And there is a call for a motion that I'll let Brendan do, but there was 3 unfounded cases that were reported to you on the January 27th meeting. Yes.
Before the call for a motion, were there any just questions or clarifications on any of the report items?
I was just curious, the absence percentages that are down, which is great, but is any of it possibly, or could any of it be contributed to any enrollment changes as well from year to year?
So-
As it shifted up or down, and would that directly impact it at all, or not by much?
Our enrollment is pretty flat from last year to this year,
Okay.
maybe a slight decrease, but nothing that would affect those numbers. I mean, and to give you some indication, so, I don't have the data from last year, but the last year that was reported on our school performance report, I believe North Hunterdon was 12% and Voorhees was 21%, right? So we went from 12% and 21% down to about 5%. So that's, we definitely did not drop in enrollment that much, so.
Great.
On that note, I think the year-to-date comparison is really useful. I think the total percentage, right now, that data is not terribly useful, because we all know at the end of the year, we're gonna go out more absences
Sure.
than we, the beginning of the year, right? So I suspect that 4% and 5% are going to creep up a little bit.
As long as they're under 10%.
Right, oh, great, it's definitely trending in the right direction.
And again, the purpose of this was, there's a data point that's reported on our district, and it's reported on all districts in the state of New Jersey, called the chronic absenteeism rates. And ours were above that 10%. So if you're above 10%, the state flags it and says, you have a problem, right? You have to do something about it. We're not alone in this, so this is not, a knob in our district, but it's something that we wanted to make sure we address, because we've been talking about it for a couple of years. And I agree, I hope we stay really steady on that 5, so that if at the end of the year, when senioritis kicks in and some of those other things, when spring happens and we have a little more absenteeism, that if we tick up to that 6 or 7, I'll be happy as where we're at now.
I guess, and I don't know that this is something that you would see as a dividend of greater student attendance, but is there the potential to see an impact in a data point like student performance? I guess the argument would be that for students who might be chronically absent, greater attendance would result in better student performance, but I don't know if at some point, even at the end of the year, that might be something to see if it impacts anything else.
That's definitely something, the correlation I can definitely see there, and we can do analysis on that. We're gonna need the data though, annual data, probably to do that. And then, that would be a great data point to compare, if we can show that on our common assessments, or, state tests, but state tests are, as we've talked about, they're fickle because they change, right? And they're constantly changing without us knowing what's changing. But we do have, like was reported last month, the PSAT data, right? So that's something we can see if we can see some trends on as well.
Any other questions or clarifications? All right, can I get a call for a motion and a second to affirm the determinations on the HIB incidents reported at the January 27th, 2026 board meeting? Can I get a motion? Motion. Dan, can I get a second? Andrew? Thank you. Questions or clarifications?
Question. So I guess we kind of discussed changing the verbiage on this a little bit to being in receipt of, not affirming. Is that something, are we going to move forward with that now, or?
Well, I remember that was brought up, I think, we did talk about that last week.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if the consensus was that was an issue or not. And Phil, I can't remember if you weighed in on, because Rich, I think your point is that we're in receipt. It was sort of the nuance between being in receipt of or affirming and sort of the board's responsibility to that.
I think there was a consensus that in receipt of was acceptable, given the fact that the board may be sitting as an appellate tribunal for any party that wishes to appeal an administration's determination of whether or not there is harassment, intimidation, or bullying. So that if the board were to, for example, modify at the first instance, knowing that there's no appeal, then that's going to change, that could change the very nature of that reporting without the benefit of the board knowing a lot more about that particular matter. I hope that made sense. I mean, yeah.
But I think if I'm hearing correctly, what you're suggesting is the language change would not be problematic in terms of any
No, not at all.
responsibility that we have in the
Not at all.
process.
Not
So,
at all.
and we've used this language because anti-bullying Bill of Rights does say that the board needs to affirm, modify, or reject the findings. And so if we want to use different language, I'm okay with that, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, if you examine the legal requirements, that's exactly what it says. And one can read the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act to suggest that it is the board's responsibility at the first instance to accept, reject, or modify. But that would mean that for every case that is reported to the board would have to go into executive session, spend about 2 hours or so getting all the details about each case and poring over it. I don't think that was the intention of the law. I certainly don't think that's the intention of the board, nor is it most of the boards that I represent. Some started that way and realized, no, this is not gonna work.
Right.
This isn't right. So just to assure you, Dr. Burshaks and the board and the community, in receipt of does not in any way compromise the legal requirements under the law.
And Rich, that was your point with simple, just a clarity on that.
Correct.
Okay, Brian?
I recall some discussion that was along the lines of where if it would require changing the words, but that we're affirming the process was correctly followed.
Right.
But affirming the determination does seem problematic without knowledge of
Right.
the details.
Okay, so maybe we sort of finalize a workshop on it and we look to put it in effect next month if the language all works.
Yeah,
Okay,
great.
any other clarifications? All right, so can I get that motion?
We did.
Oh, we
We
did,
did.
oh, that's right, we're in discussion, sorry. So now we're to the voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions or opposed?
Staying.
All right, school board president's report.
Monthly reports are there, just, that's one thing I didn't mention.
Oh,
If
okay.
there's any questions on monthly reports, let me know. I know there was a question about the suspension data at one point. We are still monitoring that. I'm gonna try to do that on, at the end of the year so we can look at a bigger sample size instead of doing it month to month, but it's something that we're talking about addressing.
Sadly, I did note that Voorhees caught up this month.
Well, this month, but again, we've had other months where it like flip-flops the other way too, and sometimes it's just a matter of how the dice roll. So, but we are paying attention to that, I just want to make sure that we do that.
So a few items here. One, I addressed briefly last week that the evaluation process is beginning for the year. Dr. Burgess is in possession of his self-evaluation instrument, which he will complete. Once that gets completed, it gets submitted to school boards, and then they send an email out to us for us to individually access our evaluation tool. And then the process follows from there, that we submit, we put it all in, it gets compiled, and we bring it together towards the end of the year. I know it has to usually be done by July, before July, where there's sort of a summary put together for review and any discussion. Last week also mentioned the regionalization grant feasibility study. Wait, is that the correct one? The regionalization grant? Yeah. That we are in the process of applying for with a handful of our sending districts. On a similar note, we also did put out a communication to the sending districts to revitalize the president, vice president roundtable. So some dates have gone out for next month, and we're in the process of getting responses back. I will look to you to forward to me any thoughts or items to bring to that conversation. For a number of years, that was happening a couple of times a year. It was a great opportunity for districts to come together to kind of talk about similar challenges, problem solve similar, or find solutions for everything from staffing to district needs. I know a lot of shared services conversations came out of that. So really the first meeting will be starting it again and, hearing from the sending districts as to some of their questions, concerns, and needs, but we also get to bring to that conversation the things that we would like to discuss. So the wheels are in motion, so if you have thoughts or ideas, just send them my way, and I will try to compile that so that in advance you have a sense of these are the things that we'll be talking to. And then Tara and I can be there as the reps. Along similar lines, we have received a communication from one of our sending districts to initiate some shared service conversations. So that's something that we'll brief you on a little bit more in more detail, but it's sort of at the will of the board right now is an opportunity to have some conversation with sending districts. The last, two more. One is this week you have sort of a summary overview of discussions, norms. Wait, this isn't the right one. This is the AI, the school board report. Okay, that one. Yes, you do have that one. Does everyone have the meeting agenda structure handout? No. I think it might be a different one, because that's the one that we're looking for. This one was from the AI, or rather school board report. Okay, so, all right. Yeah, that would be great. So for yes. Something I wanted to bring to new business was that summary document of norms, meeting procedures. That was the solicitation of all of your input. I think it's been shared with you digitally, but I did want to have some conversation on it in new business this evening so that we can kind of firm those up and see if we're comfortable going forward with those practices. And the last thing, I think that is everything except for the dates. We have 2 upcoming meetings. Our work session is March 10th, 7 p.m. in the district office, and then the adoption of the preliminary budget at March 17th, 7 p.m., once again, here in the district office. Okay. That brings us to our opportunity for public comment. During this portion of the meeting, the public is invited to address the Board of Education with comments. You are requested to sign the register provided and to state your name, municipality of residence, group affiliation if applicable, and direct your comments to the school board president. While all comments will be considered by the Board of Education and a response may be forthcoming if and when appropriate, individual school board members may not respond to the speakers at the time of their appearance. The public comment period will be a maximum of 30 minutes in length unless there are unusual circumstances. You will be allocated 3 minutes to speak, and no one will be permitted to speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. Please keep your comments respectful and non-defamatory, and maintain the level of decorum appropriate for a public meeting where students may be present and in the audience. So at this time, I would like to open up for public comment. Okay. All right, so, oh, okay. Didn't want to pressure you.
This is nothing important. So.
Hi, Karen Gove, Highbridge. Everything I'm saying is as a constituent and not as a school board member. See, some of the stuff I wrote doesn't pertain anymore because you are clarifying how the working meeting and the voting meeting is going to work. You really don't vote at the working meeting. Just talk. But I did want to say, Mr. Lordy, I wanted to commend you on the questions that you asked and the insightful dialogue that you brought to the budget presentation last week. I thought that was really great, and how you dug into that. And yes, our enrollment is down, but costs for everything have increased. My school where I work saw a 35% increase in health insurance costs. So 20, you guys are doing pretty good, you're lucky. Teacher salary increases are bargained for, and if you'd like to see them lower, I suggest that you ask to be put on the negotiations committee next time you guys go into collective bargaining. I'm not gonna say that. That's all I'm gonna say though.
Any additional public comment?
Hi there, good evening. My name is Marlene Baldinger, and I'm a parent of a sophomore here at North. We love the school. It's probably the best school with all due respect to our partner, Voorhees, we love it. It's terrific, and thank you, Dr. Berjaks, for all the great work that you do. I also happen to be the council president of Lebanon Boroughs Council. I've been on council for 9 years, and prior to that, I was on the school board for 4, so I appreciate and I'm very grateful for all the work that you do. And I think it's really very important that we have a connection between our school and our community. And actually, last year, my daughter arranged a cookie hour where it was a Vote 16 cookie hour where originally we were going to have the governor come, but since that didn't work out, she reached out to all our elected officials from all the sending districts. She did email everybody in the North Board. Thank you, Mr. Lordy. We really appreciated your presence and for being there. And the kids do notice, you know, the participation and the involvement of the board. They care. It's really important that they see that the board is interested in their activities and what they do. I know we have 4 members that represent Lebanon Borough. I haven't met any of you personally, but I would like to invite you to come to our Lebanon Borough Council meeting or our Lebanon Borough School. You know, we have a terrific bunch of kids that have really, you know, represented North very well across all avenues, from academics to sports to theater. My daughter's Pinocchio, and that's no lie, and Shrek tonight. So anyway, I just do want to thank you all. I look forward to coming and attending all your meetings, and again, welcome you to come to Lebanon Borough. Thank you. Thank you.
Any additional public comment?
Good evening. My name is Marina Bartelli. I'm a resident of Franklin Township and the parent of 2 North grads. I just wanted to thank you all on the board for your time and your energy and your commitment to our school community and to our community at large. I want to thank our student reps who for participating and becoming engaged in the process and involved. I appreciate a serious tone to a Board of Education meeting. I feel confident that that can be achieved, and to institute a way of working together that will move smoothly and evenly with an absence of grandstanding or ego or things like that. Is that my time? Oh, okay. Okay. I don't want to take up, more time than necessary. But I also want to speak my support for reading as part of education, my support for the right to read law and not looking for loopholes, shall we say. I've been a lifelong reader, and in my lifetime of reading books, there are always things that a reader may enjoy and agree with, but we also have to leave latitude that we can pick up a book and read it and go, I don't agree with this, or I like some of it, the rest of it, maybe not. So I think that it's important, particularly by the time we get to the teen years, high school age, looking at levels of development and things like that, that there is a freedom and a latitude to pick up a book and read it and sort of decide what to absorb and what to discard. And I think that it's very fear-based and ineffective to feel like we need to police what young people are reading once those reading materials have been vetted by library associations, librarians who they themselves carry degrees in this. They're not just random people who like books and the Dewey Decimal System. So I give respect to
the librarians as educators and our teachers as educators. And, you know, again, I would like to see a lot more freedom to read for our young people and our high school population. And I'm a parent, and let me tell you, if you think that, and as a parent, I reserve the right to audit what comes into my own home, sure, but I'm not ever going to say that someone else's kid shouldn't read something or watch a movie that their parents are like, yeah, we're cool with this. But as a parent of young adults, we have to understand too that there comes a point in time where we can give guidance to our kids, but if we think we're going to control, we're going to be losing that battle. And it's just important. So thank you so much, and I'm very pro book, so thank you for your time.
Any additional public comment? Okay. We're going to move on to curriculum instruction and technology. I need a call for a motion and second to approve agenda item 10.1 through 10.2. Can I get a motion and a second? Motion, Tara, a second. Andrea, thank you. Questions and clarifications on the home instruction and professional consultants student services?
There are no changes from last week, correct?
Okay. Anything else? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstention? All right. Now we have our policy and school security. Can I get a call for a motion and a second to approve agenda item 11.1? Can I get a motion, Dan, and a second? Nicole, thank you. Questions and clarifications? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstained? All right. Finance, facilities, and transportation. Can I get a call for a motion second to approve agenda items 12.1 through 12.9? Can I get a motion? Andrea, thank you. And a second? Rich, thank you. All right, questions and clarifications.
I just had one question. I apologize because I wasn't here at the working session, but 12.4, Katie, the change orders, does that close out the contract for your way? Okay, thanks. And I just want to say that's a good thing because those things tend to drag on for a long time. So it's great that
They were very
wrapping it up.
I have a
Steven.
question on 12.5, because it's new from, the link wasn't there before. Are those annual costs or one-time costs that will be exceeding that threshold?
So those are not to exceed amounts, so we typically do not get near the top threshold of that report. And this is a reapproval. We did have this back in August. The only thing that changed on this report from the first time the board saw it to now is the co-op contracts change over time. So they were rebid, and we did update that column that has the co-op contracts. So we did not change the threshold, and we didn't change the vendors.
And this just gives us the opportunity to use them, not,
Correct.
doesn't mean we're definitely using them. It's
No,
just an
it does not.
opportunity.
And historically, oh, go ahead, Brian.
Just to continue that line of question, it's a per contract, I guess. Like if we want one of these line items to do something,
This is really an
or is it
aggregate.
an annual?
It's really an aggregate number, so if we were to use one of these vendors over 5 to 6 purchase orders, we may get closer to that not to exceed number, but it's not one individual purchase order for that company. So I'm just kind of giving you an aggregate total.
In a year? Or
Over
not-
the school year.
Over a school year.
Correct.
Other questions or clarifications? Rich?
On 12.7, the bills list, since I can't get copies of bills prior to voting, Summit Management Solutions, 7,800, is that related to the $1.8 million accounting discrepancy, or is that for services provided that are different, unrelated?
I'm just pulling up because I can see the purchase order on you have a check number that you're referencing? Because it's in check number order.
It looks like it's 040990.
Yeah, it looks like this is related to their services currently for the ABA opening that we have.
I'm not sure what that means.
Assistant Business Administrator.
No, work related to the opening? I'm not sure.
Well, we have that vacancy that we.
So they're doing the work that's not being done because of the vacancy?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or clarifications? Okay. Oh.
I don't know, I'm sorry, Brendan.
That's all right.
12.6. What is the 2026 NJAS BO annual conference?
Is that related to my travel request?
That's
So
right.
that's
I don't know.
NJSBO.
That's
Yes.
correct.
That's our annual conference for business administrators for professional education.
Is that something that is optional or is that required?
Would you like to answer that?
Sure, I mean, all our conferences are optional, they're not required. It's good practice for us to stay current with our industries and to make sure we're providing services that the rest of the state is providing in a manner consistent with best practice.
Does the $1,255, is that just for the conference or does that include overnight?
That's overnight.
Okay. And would there be travel
Yeah,
and above and beyond that?
all of these include travel, accommodations, and registration fees for
Okay.
conference.
So I guess my question would be, has it been considered to commute to the conference relative to how the wrestling team was offered a solution to commute to Atlantic City as opposed to staying for 3 nights at the conference?
We have, and actually, the commute to Atlantic City from here and back, on the mileage that we would incur is usually more expensive than the actual hotel room.
It's not, so it's about 120 miles. If you do the government rate, I don't know what rate we're using, it's not. So I don't know if you wanna, that's something to revisit. And I did just, if anyone's interested, I did go on the website because I wanted to read a little bit about this conference. So I won't bore you with the details, but I have the agenda here. So it's 4 days, 3 nights, 13 hours of it is workshops. 26 hours is divided between yoga, breakfast, lunch, happy hours, dinners, and receptions. So double the time is spent on whatever going on there than the actual workshop. So I would maybe ask if commuting to save money could be looked at, since it's, I think, just sends a really wrong message to the parents and our student athletes that they have to commute to Atlantic City, but we're providing hotel room for administration to go to the same place.
I guess,
Sends a wrong message.
yeah, I would point out that there are certain allowances that allow for overnight accommodations, conferences that do and conferences that don't, school boards being one of the ones that does, and we usually send 1 or 2 members each year as well. Yeah, and we're all entitled to go, along the same lines of exposure to practices, what districts are doing. So there's an educational component to that.
To be completely fair, I think everyone who is entitled to go should go. I just think the best practices should be aligned with what we're telling our students. If they need to commute, that maybe we should follow the same thing, instead of getting rooms for administration, but they're not available for students. That's my opinion.
Nicole?
If I remember correctly, the topic of the overnight accommodations were brought up for the wrestling team, and I believe everybody on this board thought it was ridiculous to ask for, I don't assume to speak for the board, but I think everybody made a comment that it was kind of ridiculous to ask our students to commute. I also think that it's kind of ridiculous to ask anybody to commute to Atlantic City. I've done that commute multiple times. I went to school right outside Atlantic City. It is not a fun commute at any hour of the day. And I was an advisor down there at that school for about a year and a half and made that hour and 45-minute commute at 11:30 at night, and it is not fun. On top of that, I believe we did say that we would be providing overnight accommodations for the wrestling team this year, given the situation and the discrepancy with communications. So if we would look at giving the wrestling team those overnight accommodations, even though it was something that wasn't normally done for the school district to pay for that, I don't see a problem with us paying for our business administrator to stay overnight in Atlantic City and not having put her in danger driving back at all hours of the night for 4 days.
And just,
Andrew, I thought you had one. Okay, Dan?
I just wanted to point out the math. I mean, it's 240 miles, 220 each way, and at the current federal rate, that's $174. I don't know how much the hotel is, but I can't imagine it's that much more than $174 for travel. So I think it's silly to consider that.
I agree.
Other questions or clarifications? Brian?
Just to address the issue, I think it's a fantastic idea that we keep our business administrator up to date on training.
Okay. Any other questions or clarifications?
I just have one
Steve?
different question completely, different topic, but on the bills list, just about Brown and Brown. Is that, do they charge us monthly, or is that like quarterly, annually, or anything like that? How often do we get charged for their services for the, I know they're the broker for the
We're
health
charged
insurance?
monthly, but I'm not sure how much this check is for. Again, if I
It
had a
could be
little bit more
multiple
time, I
checks,
could tell
maybe.
you how many months this is for.
Okay,
Yep, but I can.
It could be multiple
follow
months,
up.
sometimes
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
invoicing.
Because I didn't see it on the previous month, bills list from the prior month, so that's, could be
Right.
aggregate.
So it could be an aggregate,
Okay.
but I
Yeah.
can follow up with you tomorrow.
Just, yeah, it's okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So the one I'm seeing there, it looks to be a single entry for 8,000. And
It does sound like our monthly.
okay. And I would say, Rich, I know you shared some information regarding the presentation that I believe Brown and Brown was doing down at Flem Raritan.
Yep. Did a great job.
And yeah, it definitely paints a very stark picture of the challenges school districts face with what's going on with healthcare. Obviously, that's something that we probably may want to look into ourselves, whether it's the opportunity of getting information. I think it helps paint a picture to the public as to why districts are seeing the cost spikes that we're seeing right now. And there's a lot of information there. Andrew?
I will say on that video, which was really insightful, the one, well, there's two takeaways. One, they're saying, other districts are going up 35%, which really means that they probably should have gone up more last year, and this is really a catch-up. So as much as 20% doesn't seem as big as 30, it might have been that we were paying more accurately currently.
Yep.
Well, I think, oh, no, you had 2
And
points.
then
Go
the
ahead.
other point was that he specifically said, our contract with Brown and Brown is we pay X% of our fees. And just because it's going up 20% doesn't mean that we're gonna keep that same percentage. We don't need that extra money, I believe is where his exact words. So I think when we go up 20%, we need to keep that in mind and try to negotiate down, if we can, our
You're
percentage.
talking about the broker fees?
Yes, the broker.
So actually, when we went out for RFP for Brown and Brown, the way I structured the RFP was to get a flat fee from Brown and Brown instead of it being structured off of a percentage of our total health benefits. So we're already ahead of
Thank you.
that.
And if I can, I sent this out on my update, but for those of you that might have missed it, the Hunterdon County Association of School Administrators actually has arranged another virtual event with Brown and Brown, so Jim Finn will be there again on March 3rd at 6:30. If anyone needs the information again, let me know, but I believe it was in my update this past week or the week before, I can't remember which one. But that's again a virtual event at 6:30. Jim will be talking a lot about the same things he did at Flemington Raritan, but for anybody in the county that's interested. They did ask to limit it to 4 board members per board, but depending on the size of it, I'm sure it's a virtual event, so.
Brian?
So at an FFT event, committee meeting, last year, maybe you remember the month, and Katie did arrange for this, I think the same gentleman,
Yeah.
but it was to present
You did.
kind of a picture of our district. Now, that was several months ago when the horizon was a little further away, and so he wasn't as quite as sure, but that's when we had this warning, could be as bad as 30%, guys. We'll see where it lands. So the somewhat good news, again, that we talked about last time, 20% is less than 30, so that's good. But if you want to get a little bit of a background about how our district fits into this, like it was specifically to us, the FFT meeting was recorded, and if we just remember the month, and we can go back and
We can share
look at
that.
it.
Yeah.
That. He was, it was the first, he was first up, and so it's the first, 20 minutes of that presentation, that committee meeting.
I know from that presentation, I think I was struck by the takeaway that I think it was about 6% they were talking about is basically dedicated to reclaiming losses from the prior year. So that's almost baked into recovering losses from the prior year. And I guess that's something that's in effect potentially in any given year as part of the total. I think, the other things I'm cognizant of is there was that period of time, and certainly Katie, check me if I'm wrong, where often, as schools were looking at different pools to be a part of and programs, there was always some sort of savings to be had, and it now seems like most of that has dried up. Those opportunities are not there in quite the same way. And I remember from a number of years ago, the percentages were single digits, and something like a 7% or an 8% increase was considered good back then, and obviously it's just very different right now. So I do think this is one of those things where there is an educational component to that, and in as much as our work here, whatever we can do to sort of communicate that to the public or promote resources that make that a little more understandable to the public, given the challenges of the moment. I anticipate that it's a conversation we'll see emerging from districts all around the county as they're each confronting their own version of this particular challenge.
And it was November of last year.
Andrea?
I was just going to say, it seems like this would be a topic of discussion for the roundtable with our sending districts. Just
Yeah.
from what I've heard, that I think they are all facing a 20 or more %
Yeah.
increase as well. And so that means that, there's a gap for all of on two levels for our taxpayers.
Yeah, I think we might be. I don't know if we're going to be at a point where schools might have been sharing some preliminary budget figures in terms of what they might be facing as far as that goes. I mean, it's certainly a question we can ask to get that information so we get a better sense of what exactly is the lay of the land and sort of where we might stand in that.
Brent, I just wanted to be, one last thing. Just want to be clear, guys, so we're all on the same page on the professional development. I support it. I want everyone to go. I just think best practices should be the same for the students and staff. That's all.
Can I just clarify something? If it's best practices for students, no other sporting event gets hotel stays. So there's other sports that go to tournaments and other things that we don't cover. So if we're going to talk best practices, wrestling has been the outlier on getting something that none of our other athletes have gotten in the past, so.
Can I chime in on that as well? I think conflating employee benefits and professional development and school trips for students, I don't think they're equal at all. Nor do I think going back to last year, providing parking for employees and providing parking for students, I think that's just not an equal comparison.
Okay, I disagree, but okay.
Any other questions or clarifications? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Abstain or oppose? Oh,
I'm
Andrew?
in favor of all standing for the 12.5.
I'm voting no on 12.2, 12.3, 12.6, 12.7, and 12.9.
12.2, 12.3, 12.6. Could you repeat?
12.7,
I said-
12.9, and part of me 12.8.
Okay, so now we're 12.2 and 12.3 and 12.6 through 12.9.
Correct.
Okay, and you said that was no or an abstention?
No.
So based on Juan's email, you'll follow up?
We'll
Yeah.
follow up.
Yeah.
There are going to be additional steps we'll have to take, but we'll follow up.
All right. We have community relations and student affairs. Can I get a call for a motion and a second to approve agenda item 13.1? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Dan, thank you. And a second, Nicole, thank you. Questions, clarifications, discussion, overnight field trips? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstention? No? All right, we didn't have any delegate reports last week. I don't know if anything has changed.
No, we don't have any delegates right now, except for the Unsung Hero coming up on March 4th, Wednesday. It starts at 6, it's at JP Case from middle school, and I hope all of you can attend. There is a registration that came in through email, but if you can't find it, let me know and I'll help you get registered to attend.
What was the date again? Tara?
It's Wednesday, March 4th at 6 o'clock at JP Case. Their jazz band's going to be performing, and it's a fabulous evening of recognizing our students that don't always get recognized.
I assume it's in an auditorium.
Yeah,
It's going to be well attended.
Yeah,
Not in the library or whatever.
nope, in the auditorium, and we'll have signs directing. And then afterwards, there's cake and refreshments.
All right, can I get a call for a motion second to adopt resolution 022426-2 for an executive session to discuss matters reflected in the attached resolution? Board expects to be in executive session for approximately, actually, I'm going to say closer to 30 minutes. And upon return to public session, action will be taken. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Andrea, second. Andrew, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions or opposed? No? Okay. Need a call for a motion and a second to reconvene public session. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Tara, can I get a second? Brian? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? None? Can I get a call for a motion and second to approve agenda items 17.1 through 17.3 and to include hand carries if provided? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Andrea, thank you. Nicole, second. This is a roll call vote.
Can I request a waiver for Cynthia?
Yeah,
Oh,
one minute.
thank you. Yep, okay.
Sorry.
Yep. Okay, so in the interim, I did, to Brian's point, the document, which was the feedback summary and decisions, I did just reshare through the board announce email, and I see a few folks are onto it already, so you should see the full 2 pages there for that. So give you a minute to sort of access it so that we can discuss it a little bit in new business.
Mine only has 1 page. No. Sorry.
I actually know you well enough now to know that was a joke. All right. Cynthia, we are just,
We were waiting.
we're waiting for you.
No,
Yep,
it's
no.
okay.
We're at the roll, we're going to do a roll call vote for the personnel agenda and the executive session minutes. Okay.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Hanley?
Yes.
Ms. Hitz?
Yes.
Mr. Lordy?
Yes.
Mr. Matthews?
Yes.
Ms. Mezzacappa?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Ms. Stein?
Yes.
And Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
Okay, so under new business, if you recall, the transition to a Board of the Whole was obviously a significant undertaking for this group. So we solicited input, ideas, information to how to best organize ourselves, sort of convert our practice from committee structure to a Board of the Whole. I'm apologizing in advance for the 5-hour meeting that we had last week, and I will do my part to, some of the feedback, to allocate things that we're doing so that, some of the presentations and reports, we can find ways to put them across the 2 meetings, particularly if they're not tied to action items per se, but are just information that we are providing to the board. So I will certainly work on that to be respectful of all of our time. If you recall, the feedback was on meeting and agenda structures, and that led us to sort of the ad hoc policy work that we have going on now. Second was board norms and some of the consensus that has come from that. This is all information that I think was initially shared about a month or so ago, so folks have had an opportunity to see it. This is, I guess, us just sort of officially bringing it forward. Not that it gets codified into law or anything like that, but these are norms that we will do our best to uphold and honor. I think when it comes to norms, there has to be comfort in addressing norms if folks feel there's a violation of a norm, and having that conversation, and again, always trying to do our best in managing that. There was a question on legal services, and obviously shifting to a Board of the Whole, especially for a board who traditionally has had legal counsel present at meetings, that entails an expense. So that was another question as to whether we wanted legal representation at all meetings or some meetings. And then liaisons, we've begun to establish some of that. We already have our delegate assembly. Stephen has agreed to do that. We have our sending district roundtable. We had folks suggesting liaisons to the PTA or CPAC. I guess that's a conversation we can have going forward if those opportunities present themselves. And then some of the communication tools, we've already been employing the Google Form and Doc as a way to sort of pull questions together so that we can all see them. We can see administration's answers to those questions. I have already found that to be very valuable and helpful. Wherever we can put information that it can bring clarity to our work is good. I think one of the questions on that log was even asked, we have to be mindful of the questions that we're putting there and the answers that are there, because that is all operable also. So it is not a place for conversation, it's for a question, it's for an answer to better inform the work that we do at the meetings. So that's just a brief overview. I did not know if there were any particular dimensions of this information that folks wanted to discuss. My sense was we had seen it all. We were generally in agreement with what it was suggesting. I do see a little bit of an open question on legal service presence at meetings. So I don't know if that's a conversation we want to start now, we want to consider going forward. There seemed to be a suggestion there that it might be a situational thing. I didn't want to make any move on that until we were comfortably into this work, but it's very much an open question for the board to decide. So I kind of just want to open the floor to particular questions or comments. Meryl.
Well, not having seen your prior format, I don't know why this new format would take so much more time, more of the attorney's time than the old format, but I'll take you at face value that it is. I'm wondering if anybody asked our attorney ways that he may recommend to cut back his time, to keep it in line with what was previously being spent on attorney's fees when you were in the other format.
Yeah, so just for the record, previously the attorney was only present at the single monthly meeting. The committee structure was 5 committees meeting separately without an attorney. So that work is now getting bundled into our working sessions. And previously our default was to have the attorney present, but that's always at our discretion. I'll say as a board member over the years, North has traditionally tended to have attorneys at their action meetings. The board I was on previously did not, and I've seen different districts do it all different ways. But Meryl, if I'm understanding what you're saying given the fact that we have an additional meeting each month that could be several hours of work, are there suggestions from the attorney that would streamline that other than requiring full presence for both meetings?
Does the attorney suggest ways that his time can be cut back? If anybody asked him, I don't know.
Has not come up. This is our first time grappling with it. And Phil, I don't know if you, not to put you on the spot, if there are thoughts or ways that you've done this work with other districts.
One of the philosophies that guide my representation of North Hunterdon-Voorhees Regional High School is that as the resources that should be going to this district are resources that benefit teaching and learning, period. And very often, money that is allocated for legal fees takes away from those teaching and legal resources. We're living in a time now where these fiscal times are very, very challenging. And so my feedback on that is as follows. Number one, they find that in schools, fewer kids get sick when the school nurse isn't there. That's one. Number two, in a given board meeting, in a given public board meeting, I may spend as much as 5 minutes, 10 minutes of feedback. So a suggestion that I would make is, number one, I am always here when you want me here. Anytime you want me here, I'm here. Case closed. However, I can also be on call every time the board has a meeting, meaning that I will either be watching the meeting via Zoom, whatever, but not billing for the time that I'm watching the meeting. In other words, if something comes up that you need my immediate feedback, you know where I live and you know how to reach me. And so the use of the board attorney could be limited to those instances where I am needed at that moment, and that's the only billing that you would have, similar to when we speak on the phone. If I'm doing something on a situational basis from day to day, the charge would be the 0.3, 0.4, 0.8, you know, like whatever the billable amount would be. But if it is the board's interest to diminish the legal account as much as possible, save as much money wherever and however possible, I am all in on a variation like that. If there's a hot button issue that the board anticipates for a particular meeting that you need the person who is here to be the lightning rod for those kinds of things, that's me. And I'm here at your beck and call. So I'm wide open to those kinds of ideas.
Dan and Brian?
Just so on that topic, so what about, obviously if we have any kind of legal issue, whatever, that's going to be an executive session, obviously you're going to be here for that. But if you weren't here and we're in executive session and something comes up, is it okay for the attorney to be on the phone in executive session? Is that there's nothing against that, right? Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Just curious.
Brian?
My thought is that because we've doubled the number of public meetings, the length of the working meeting, I don't think actually last working meeting is going to become an aberration. I think it's going to become more the norm. That we might want to structure things such that we try to not have a 3-hour executive session, you know, on the very, you know, add 6 complicated legal issues. Let's structure our business such that those happen at the action. You know, we try to, where possible, funnel those towards the action meeting.
Okay.
To try to get them so far out of whack.
Right.
In terms of how much time we're here. So I think it would naturally make sense to have a base case, always open to different, to changes when needed. The base case would be have counsel for our action meetings and not for what amount to a collection of our committee meetings where we didn't have the counsel before.
Okay. Thoughts on that? The idea of action meeting presence, and I guess as needed or if needed, identified otherwise. I think that's what I'm hearing.
Right,
But
and
the
try to
default
funnel,
is not for the work session,
Choose to
but
have
for the
those
action.
kind of conversations.
As
on
much
the
as
action
possible
meeting,
on the
executive
action.
session, rather, you know, if we have when possible, sometimes the timing won't let you wait another week.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
I'll hold your
Rich?
Much to Brian's surprise, I agree 100% with everything you said.
Thank you for the warning.
So I think.
So.
Keep suspense there. No, but I think if we keep it for the regular meeting and the attorney could be on call,
100%.
why not?
Yeah.
Well said, Brian.
All right, so we'll plan on that to go into effect next month, and we'll see how it works.
And if I may, if there is a need for in-person for executive session only, I will just come for executive session only.
Okay.
On those days, if we do need him for executive session, would we be able to do executive session first?
I don't know, I think sometimes it's situational or. You know.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, this board actually did function like that for a long time, where we would open the board meeting, go to executive session, discuss whatever we wanted to, then come out and do regular board business. You know, the only disadvantage to that is our public.
Right.
So obviously there, you know, we could schedule an executive session. I know boards that do it where they schedule an executive session from 6 to 7 and then start their public board meeting at 7. That sort of time limits you in executive session as well. But those are, again, we could really structure it any way you wanted.
But that's another strategy.
I mean,
Yeah.
just to cut down on, like,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have to sit through the
Right.
entire regular meeting
Well, I
to
think he
wait
would,
for an executive
weren't you
session.
just saying you'd just come for executive session, so
I-
you wouldn't show up at 7,
I
you,
would not.
right.
Yeah, but he
okay.
doesn't know when that's going
Yeah,
to
Right.
and
True.
it's
Or
hard
is
to
that
judge
necessary?
sometimes
Right.
when that would be.
Phil,
that's
so we're
why-
moving,
Yeah.
we're moving faster than we thought.
I'm 35 minutes away.
Okay.
Really practically speaking, could we Zoom you in or just call you in and we could get the same advice
Yeah.
that way?
Yeah.
Of course.
And I also wanted to say thank you for, being on call means you're available.
Yes.
Means you're not out doing something else. And
Right.
I think I heard you say you're not going to be billing at all for your on-call time?
No, if you need me during my, I mean, believe me, I got stuff to do. So, but if you need me, the billing would only be for that
Right, where we
time.
pick up the phone.
So that
Understood.
could cut down significantly the cost of board meetings.
Brendan,
Yes.
one last thing, I mean, I think this is a good, like, foundation, but I would say also, use your discretion. Like, I don't want you to feel like you're boxed in because it's a working meeting. I think if you think that you need Phil there because you know maybe be privy to things that maybe we're not, by all means.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't want you to feel boxed in by
Right.
us having this conversation.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Good point.
All right, other topics or other areas that anybody wanted to surface or clarify? On any of the other, whether it's norms, agenda structures, obviously we've been moving in some of that direction. The ad hoc folks will continue with that work and coordinating with Rich to set up our next set of policies to review and bring forward. So that process will begin. Anything else that anyone else wants to highlight or clarify? Andrea?
Not on this, but general.
Oh, okay, no, so we can put this to bed if people are feeling that's good, and we'll adjust if needed as we
There's
go.
another
Oh, I'm
question.
sorry, Nicole.
Just to go along with, the board norms, the third bullet point of respecting and sharing the floor, please be mindful of tone and, words used and that sort of thing. I would just like to put that out there. This board has had very difficult times in the past with respect and tone of voice and just an attacking rhetoric, and I don't want it to devolve into that. So when we're giving our voices, I would just like us all to be mindful in meetings and such, that we're all here because we have the same goal, and that is to help the students. And just be respectful in the way that you share your opinion, with everybody.
And I would say the reverse of that is the comfort in drawing attention to norms. And I'll just use as an example, my one daughter always thinks I'm yelling at her, but I do not think I'm yelling at her. And when she says, "You're yelling at me," I need for her to tell me that, because I clearly don't see it that way. But the reminder is good. Andrew?
Did you?
Oh, was there another?
I just want to say, in an unusually snowy winter, I just wanted to say thanks. I know there's probably a lot of extra work that went into getting our schools open and ready for the past 2 snowstorms. So I think as parents, we all appreciate that our students were in school as much as possible. So
Thank you. We're on
I'm sure there might be on call today, but
Spring cannot come quick enough.
exactly. So
I do have one question, just for clarity, for point of order, and maybe the board attorney can help clarify that. When point of order is used at a meeting, can you define exactly, or give an example of what that should look like and what that is when somebody says point of order?
Point of order, under Robert's rules, has a kind of an exalted status as is supposed to stop everything that's going on hear what the member has to say. It is talking about usually some very serious concern about the propriety of a process that's occurring at that point in time. And it, no matter what's going on at the time, it is, according to Robert's rules, designed to kind of stop, allow that discussion to take place about whatever the point of order is, and then based upon that discussion, it would resume. But it's normally about a serious concern about the process that is occurring in terms of how the board is acting.
So decorum, how it's acting?
Can a point of order be aimed at decorum issues? Sure. Sure.
But not only.
But not only.
There's
That's
multiple
right.
other things that
I
could
mean,
So if you're off topic, basically, then point of order to redirect, point of order to get back on topic of the agenda.
correct. Understanding that the board president runs the meeting and is responsible for making sure that we stay on task, stay on topic, et cetera, and giving the president the opportunity to exercise that. But if there's a point at which, I mean, I think we've had a couple since
Yes.
I've been here.
Well, we had one at the last meeting. I was just a little, I wanted clarity, just to ensure that it was a topic that was on the agenda, and perception could be that it was trying to stop, or maybe time of essence, I wasn't quite sure, and I wanted clarity as to why the point of order.
Yeah.
was. And I just wanted clarity, just.
But
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
No, I
speaking to
just
the
have-
board attorney.
No.
Okay.
sorry, I just want to clarify what was the topic that I didn't think we had a point of order
No, we
last.
We
Yeah,
did.
there
I
was-
wasn't, I was watching, but I saw that.
It was whatever the one was to ask if we could have a vote to stop
That's
the
right.
debate. So we
That's
had,
right.
right,
No.
to
Yes.
debate.
Yeah,
It wasn't,
yeah,
I don't think it was
yeah.
a point of order, it was a decorum, it was to say that I was called to sort of end debate.
I didn't,
Call the
okay.
question.
I didn't look
I
at that
believe
as
it
a
was a
point
call
of
to
order, but I
question.
guess it
Call
is
to
considered
question.
a
A
point
call
of
to
order.
question.
Okay,
Meryl?
sorry.
Meryl?
Right. We voted on that.
Correct.
It wasn't as though a board member uttered that and everything came to a halt. So there was a decision made around that motion, if you will.
The calling the question
Yeah.
required a 2/3 vote. To
Right.
Correct.
Right, which I believe is different. I don't remember what words you used, but I interpreted it as calling the question.
Mhm.
Which is like, okay, the debate is, we're rehashing,
What we talked
one reason to do that would be we're rehashing the same arguments over and over again, and it's, 11:30 or whatever, let's vote. And we had to vote to call the question,
Correct.
which is different.
Which we did,
There is a
yeah.
Robert's Rules of Order for point of order, which is kind of like, are we talking about the right stuff here?
Right.
Which I'm very clear, point of order, I just want clarity.
If I may, Rule 23 of Robert's Rules of Order, 11th edition, point of order. When a member thinks that the rules of the assembly are being violated, he or she can make a point of order or raise a question of order, as it is sometimes expressed, thereby calling upon the chair for a ruling and an enforcement of the regular rules. Now, Robert's Rules of Order are most applicable to large bodies, such as senates, houses of representatives, etc. There is language in Robert's Rules which speaks to, with some exceptions, to a relaxation of the literal translation of Robert's Rules as it applies to boards such as yours, simply because you are relatively small, and Robert's Rules considers 12 and under to be a smaller board. I have also found that Robert's Rules can often be used as a weapon. in contentious times amongst board members. And while I think it's an excellent guide to decorum issues, order, et cetera, there is a 1980s Commissioner of Education decision which says that Robert's Rules of Order cannot be used to circumvent the education laws. So if the board needs to do something in accordance with Title 18A or 6A, and someone is claiming that Robert's Rules, then the statute and the regulation always takes precedence over that. But that's, yeah.
Thank you. Any last questions or clarifications?
I just want to bring up, this was also an old business, just as a request, again, to somehow indicate when we've already hashed through something in the working session, and once it gets to today's session, that it's unchanged, or vice versa, that to flag for us things that have changed. Almost like, because we are starting with the working session has the same agenda.
Right.
With, we aren't saying it has to be identical, but we're basically trying to get it to be, the working session and this session have the similar agendas, but some items changed. It would just be useful in terms of people going back to preparing for this meeting to know,
Right.
there's 4 things that I need, or 5 or 6 that I need to look at if I've already looked at them last time.
Okay.
It's a little more work, I understand, and otherwise it's going to end up, I guess, we'll just end up asking the question like Andrea did today.
I know I'm not supposed to direct
Okay.
directly, but this is beyond where if you highlight it, it shows whether it was changed or not. You mean attachments or no?
Yeah, I mean, if there's an attachment.
If there's an attachment and you start clicking, it says this hasn't changed since the last time you looked at it. Or at least mine does.
Yeah, they do.
I think.
At the bottom, it'll say no changes since you last
Okay, so
viewed,
like-
or changes. But I mean, I feel like,
Okay.
Brian, your point is still valid in the sense that when there are changes, draw attention to the changes. All right. I'm
I
looking.
think somebody even told me about that and I already forgot it. Sorry.
Can I get a call for a motion and a second to adjourn? Can I get a motion? Nicole, thank you. Second, Brian, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? None. I want to thank our super fans in the back still, and have the knitting projects proceeded. Thank you, and have a good night.